Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about the best college degrees to get rich. So if you don't know me, I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out. So what I'm going to do in this particular video is actually talk to you about college degrees that will help you make money, build wealth, become rich and prosper, and actually have some wealth in the future so you can give back and give to other people and do really cool things after you actually develop and build this wealth. So, but I really want to caveat here. Don't watch this video if you're looking for rules for riches. So what do I mean by that? So something where if you watch this video, you're going to feel like, man, I can go out and buy something, buy a course, go to a college, get a college degree that's going to take you 6 months, and all of a sudden you're going to be rich and wealthy and everything is going to be perfect for you. That's not how life typically happens. And if it does happen in that sort of way, you're either extraordinarily lucky or you are probably going to not build wealth in the long run, because there's lots of different things that go on in terms of what personal development inside of you that really are important for building wealth. And I should qualify, I've got degrees in engineering. I studied a lot of finance courses in my doctoral studies. I also studied strategy. I study innovation, entrepreneurship. So I've got multiple degrees, and I'm a professor at a major university that you all have heard about. And I'm really fond of personal finance. I think it's a really important part of our life that we should all pay attention to, and not enough people pay attention to this. So what major should you be in to actually get rich in your life? So most people think it's a particular degree that they should get, and I'm going to tell you that it's not a specific degree that you should actually get. And I think this is the wrong approach, because I think that everyone is different, and what I'm going to do is help you out in many different areas of your life, rather than say, get this degree or get this degree, because in 3 years you're going to watch this video and it's not going to apply to you. Or I'm going to tell you to go do biotech engineering, and then in 5 years biotech engineering is not going to be a sort of hot commodity and nobody's going to pay attention to it. Or, I tell you to get a finance degree, and then in 5 years, the finance market sort of falls out. Wall Street doesn't do a very good job. In fact, that's actually what's happening. If you could see, a lot of people are shifting from Wall Street and taking jobs in Silicon Valley. And that's been a general trend in over the years in terms of, building wealth and looking for careers and college degrees and things like that. But instead, what I'm going to do in terms of help you build wealth is help you think about what building wealth is and what it means to actually build wealth in your life over the long run. So it's not going to be one thing, right? So building wealth has very little to do with a single choice in your life. Having a solid footing early on in your life is going to help out a lot if you choose the right thing. But college choice is very important, and it sort of sets the tone for the rest of your life. But I think it doesn't necessarily determine absolutely everything that you're going to do. And you have to make sort of major life choices that are going to sort of set you apart in the long run. So college choice is one particular thing, but you can continuously, so education, you could take an education at any point in your life. So if it doesn't work out for you in the first degree that you took, then you can take another one that might be a little bit more lucrative. Lots of people do that kind of stuff. Don't worry about this, but instead I want you to think about life as a trajectory and get you to think about building wealth and building your life over the long run, and making a series of repeated decisions, many repeated decisions, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of decisions that get you to the point where you actually start building wealth and you become very wealthy in the long run. So this way of building wealth, it takes you 30, 40 years. I'm going to point that out in terms of building wealth. Most people in the United States, most people in Canada, most people around the world, the ones that are wealthy are the ones that actually take this route. where they take a long time. It takes a series of years and decades to build wealth, to the point that they actually have some wealth that they can say that they're rich and they're very wealthy. So it's not particularly a college choice. And in fact, you can become very wealthy if you become a teacher. It's just a matter of all the different things that you have to do in terms of becoming wealthy, right? So you can be a garbage collector, and you can become very, very wealthy from collecting garbage. You look at the CEO of, Waste Management, for example, large company. Or, you look at the sort of stories of, I think it's Waste Management. You look at the story of that. It was just somebody that started picking up garbage. And they started picking up garbage in their neighborhood, and it turned it into a large multinational corporation, right? And so you could do the exact same thing. And a lot of people do these kind of things, right? So build it up. You don't even need a college degree, but it does do a lot of things for you that we forget about, right? So early on in my life, I did chase wealth, and I continue to do that. I think it's an important part. If you are not doing that, not thinking about wealth and accumulation, and thinking about salaries and thinking about sort of financial things, you're doing yourself a disservice in your life. There is a lot of things that it does for you, in terms of just setting yourself up for the future, and it is a very important part of our life, right? So what does wealth do for you, or having some extra income do for you? Well, in downturns, you can survive a little bit longer than other people. It also gives you options, and that's the thing that I want you to think about. It gives you a tremendous amount of options in the future in terms of what you want to do with this. And as an individual, I'd hope that once you start building wealth, you can start giving back and doing really cool things. Have a little bit of fun, obviously, but then a large component of it should be giving back and doing things like somebody like Bill Gates. Bill and Melinda Gates, what wonderful people they're doing, right? So they have built a tremendous amount of wealth over their lifetime, from being in a very fortunate position, but then as well, they're giving back and doing all sorts of things that other people, they're benefiting other people. And that's the only thing that you can do with really wealth, is to give back. You cannot take wealth, you cannot take riches to your grave. It does not really help that way. But you can give inheritance. You can give stuff away. You could do all sorts of things that are really fun and cool that you can't possibly do without that wealth, right? So but I want you to sort of separate something here, right? So early on in my life, and we all do this, right? So don't feel bad about this. I was chasing wealth to sort of improve my life and to hopefully become happier, or have something that, if I did this, then lots of people are going to like me. If I built wealth and I did all these particular actions and everything, my life is going to be all sorted out. It doesn't work like that. That's not what I'm talking about, right? So your life and your feelings, all this emotional stuff that goes on inside of you, that is separate than from building wealth. There's a little bit in terms of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've heard about that, but there's a basic amount of wealth, or salary that we need to survive, and that's kind of really all it says. And there's other things to it, but just imagine that we just need kind of a basic minimum of what we need to survive, and beyond that, everything else is just kind of for fun. And that's really the way to think about it. In that the feelings that you get right now in terms of why you want to build wealth, and that's hopefully you're watching this in terms of understanding what I'm trying to talk about. The why you want to build wealth is as important as the sort of actions of building wealth. And you have to work on the why and why you actually want to do that, right? So all those feelings inside, really work on that and think about how you can work on that going forward. And I'm not going to talk about that in this video. That's for another one. But in terms of building wealth, what you want to look back and what you want to do is, not look at college degrees in terms of, if you get this college degree, you're going to be very wealthy. That is kind of, over the years, I've kind of realized that sort of logic is faulty. What it does do, what a college degree does, certain college degrees do, is that it gives you options to do things that you possibly can't do, just like wealth, right? So if you are interested in engineering, for example, you might go and get a degree in engineering, because then it opens up all these different things in engineering that you could do, as well as the things that you couldn't have done before, or that you could have done before, right? So I worked in a fish camp when I was younger. I could still do that at this moment, right? I could still go back and work in a fish camp. But, I chose to continue on with my education, doing other things at this moment, college professor in a business school. But I can go back and become in a fish camp, work in a fish camp and do all those fun things as well. It just gives you more opportunities, right? And that's the thing that you want to think about. The other thing that happens too, and I didn't realize this, and it takes a while to sort of realize this, it does give you some status in terms of decision making, in terms of authority in life, all different things like this. There's an old organizational theorist that would have talked about this, Weber. But anyways, really what it does, it sort of signals to other people that you can make decisions in this particular realm, and sort of the right frameworks and ways to make decisions that everybody would think was legitimate and credible in that particular area, right? So we can all make decisions. We could do that. We can make a decision in a chemical plant. You can make a decision. Everybody can. Even if you're 10 years old, you can make that decision in a chemical plant. But you probably want to have the right frameworks, the right sort of decision-making, information to make a decision in that case, so the chemical plant doesn't blow up, right? You need that knowledge. You need that sort of basis. It's really important for us, and it's an important signal to society in terms of that you understand this, right? So if you're, an engineer in a chemical plant, then they're probably going to think about the decisions that you're doing, and you're going to have a little bit more of a logical flow in terms of that decision making, right? So the basic idea in terms of picking college degrees is you want to look for something that has value in the marketplace and likely provide you value in the future. That's going to change over time. I'm not going to get into where specifically value comes from, but what you want to look for is that people are, that they are looking at that particular college degree and they think that it is, people understand that it's valuable, and not a lot of people can get that particular college degree, and it's difficult to get. And this is going to shift over the decades, and so you need to look sort of forward-facing and look ahead in terms of the college degree that's going to be important for you, and you really have to do that. It's your personal choice. But that is only one component, right? So you have to make this decision going forward in order for you to prosper and to do well and to like this particular thing that you're doing. You have to actually sit down and make that decision yourself. You can't get somebody else. You can't watch a YouTube video, unfortunately, and have somebody to tell you to pick this particular college degree because it's going to make you a lot of money and you're going to become rich. You have to make that decision. And then once you do that, right, so once you sort of figure out the thing that is valuable and gives you value in the future, you can start building wealth from there, right? So the 4 years in university, you're not going to build that much wealth. In fact, you're going to probably, most of us, go negative. And then there's a steep climb after that in terms of getting out of that negative wealth, right? So you've got debt, and that's what it is. And then over time, you build that wealth and you accumulate that wealth. And it requires a mindset, a decision-making framework over the years and years and years that you are actually intentional about building wealth, and you're doing a lot of tiny little steps along the way. So with a college degree, you actually have to choose the degree that's actually going to be that's going to provide value, right? If you choose a degree for another decision-making sort of framework, right? So you base it on personal development, you base it on what the university looks like, you base it on where your friends are going. That's not going to get you to wealth. What you do is you actually list it out and you think about it and you say, this particular college degree is going to net me the highest salary. And then the other thing you have to do is you have to go and you have to say, well, if I went to this particular university, it's going to be the least inexpensive for the thing that's going to give me the largest bang for your buck. So once you start thinking like that, and you actually have to think about this because each state is different, each country is different, you actually have to do this to understand what is going to actually get you wealthy. And that is the first step. So once you do that, that is going to be the first step for you to actually start building wealth. It's going to be an intentional thing for you actually to think about wealth and accumulating your wealth in the long run, or building, becoming rich in the long run. And once you start doing that, you are 95% better than everybody else around you. Most people actually don't think about those kind of things. They work towards other particular things around you. And I'm not saying that this is the end all and be all, and it's really your whole life is going to be put together. In fact, your life could be a complete shambles, and still build wealth. But you have to sort of know that this is an important part of your life, and you have to start building that into your life, right? So what you want to do is start working towards that goal and doing things towards that particular goal, so that in 30 years or 40 years, you actually have a significant amount of money that's sitting there that you can do well with that, and actually have some wealth that you can say to other particular people that you actually have this wealth that's sitting there, right? And it takes that long, right? I'm not lying about that. So it's 30, 40-year decisions, multiple decisions over time. And you just continuously work towards that. And you look for ways. So to give me an example, you do that rational choice in the beginning, and you pick the best university that makes you rich. You go to there, but then you also have to do other things, like look for ways to, cut back on what how much you spend on eating. You want to look for ways in terms of, having the most inexpensive rent that's there. You look for ways that it's cheaper to transportation, right? So you take the bus instead of taking the car, and you do that over a series of years. And it's tough and it's difficult. We all struggle with this, right? Because we all want to do more things than what we possibly can. But you do this over a series of years, which turns into a series of decades. You actually do accumulate wealth over the long run. And you need to sort of target. You set sort of personal targets in terms of how much you're going to save in the long run. And if you pick a degree at the beginning that sort of has value, it's easier to save. Because let's say you're making $100,000, well, you can save $50,000 of that and put that into something else. Where somebody that's making $60,000 a year, you probably can only save $10,000. And so that's an important choice. You have to think about that. But, don't get hung up on that particular choice at the beginning. Just know it's a gradual thing that you're doing, and you're working towards that particular thing and that particular goal, and you work backwards in terms of actually getting to that point. And it's a lifelong thing in terms of building wealth and accumulating things over the long run. And again, I need to stress that this is only a really small component of your life. It's an important part of your life because it gives you options to do many other things. But it doesn't replace things like you building relationships, exercising, or whatever the particular goal that you have, right? So making sure that you maintain a certain weight in your life, all those kind of things. Those are all really important in terms of your life and who you are as individuals. It's much more holistic, but it is a component that you should be thinking about. And I would stress that in terms of building a college degree, or picking a college degree that's actually going to make you rich. It is a component of it, but you have to keep working towards that. And it's not just the degree. So once you just get that degree, right, you've done it for 4 years or 5 years, there are 30 more years after that of many other life decisions that you make that actually allow you to do well and prosper in the long run, right? So what I would love you to do, instead of thinking of, just picking a college degree and this is going to make you so rich and famous and all that kind of stuff, but instead I want you to use this, and hopefully you take away from this video that what you want to do is keep investing in yourself. Learn what it means to actually become a lifelong learner. Look for ways to grow as an individual, and look for connections with other people, and really start doing those kind of things that are intentional, that build a better life and build a better you, that's going to actually lead you to become wealthy in the long run. Because you want to accumulate wealth, but then you also want to be the decent person to be able to give away and do things that are really fun and interesting, because that's where actually the fun part of life is being able to give things away and doing things that other people can't do. And if you can do that at the same time and making this sort of intentional life over the long run, you're going to be golden. And that's really what a lot of life is about, is making these intentional things and growing as human beings. And, in terms of figuring out which one is going to make you the most wealthiest, what you need to do is actually pick up a book and go through and sort of analyze the salaries and look at how much it costs. The other thing you need to do in terms of actually accumulating wealth in your life, pick up a couple of personal finance books and just read some of those things. Dave Ramsey is a good one. There's many other ones that you could do. That the Wealthy Barber, that was a really cool one. I remember reading that when I was in 10th grade. There's all sorts of things that you could do, and it just takes time. It takes effort, and you have to keep working towards that. And it's multiple things that you could do in terms of building wealth. And if you do that over the long haul, you're actually going to become very wealthy, and you will probably actually pick a college degree that will make you rich. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I apologize for it being a little tricky in the sense that you're probably watching this to pick that particular college degree, but instead I'm giving you a mindset to think about how to actually go about picking a college degree, and then actually accumulating wealth and becoming very rich in the future, and as well as being a decent person. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.